Simon Brown of Blanco, the, well, now veteran, really, Australian sprinter. He's ridden for Rabo, he's ridden for all sorts of people. He's matured as a rider over the years. He was one of those fiery sprinters that often came into verbal collision, if not physical collision, with other riders when he was in his earlier part of his career. But very, very fast, very much a man who was touted as a great rider, a great sprinter. Never quite made the absolute super top. But he's made a good career. It's Sojo Son and Koufaris on the front, just wheeling along. My apologies, I've forgotten that Ilicic is Slovenian, not Serbian. The man in the breakaway. And Delle Stella is Italian. I could make up something and say he's Icelandic now, couldn't I? But nothing like that. Sorry, no. Sorry, Aldo, you're Slovenian. 6:59 is the gap, 54 kilometres to go. They sort of leave it to the last minutes, really, so to speak, of a stage like today to start winding it up and bring the guys back in again. They just leave them. It's such a hot day today.
Well, there's no real point in going too hard either, because the riders are up here in terms of the general classification. They haven't really got much there. Delle Stella is at 21 minutes and 19 seconds, and Ilicic is at 25 minutes and 16 seconds. So, you know, riding too hard on the front is just basically gonna waste energy, and energy that you can use later on on the climb. And I'm actually a bit surprised to see that Astana are taking up the well, a certain part of the workload anyway to get themselves there. You know, if I was in Zildjian's shoes here right now, I'd say leave it and put the pressure on Europcar, and then maybe if Europcar then don't take up that chase and take the responsibility of the leader's jersey, then later on, when you get into the point where it's borderline panic, with the wind that you got today, you can see there's a little bit of a crosswind coming in. You can just see that by how long the peloton stretches itself out. It's not that it's going particularly fast, it's just that there isn't really anywhere to hide from the wind today. It's one of them really uncomfortable days where you're never really on the wheel properly. You always got a little bit of wind on you. It feels very uncomfortable sitting on the back. It feels like the guys on the front, you know, they're riding at 100 miles an hour, whereas you know, you're struggling to keep up the pace further back. But really, it's just the angle of the wind, which is in the wrong position, so to speak. And with that, you know, if Astana decided to just hold back a little bit, and then at one point, if Europcar are not doing the work that they're supposed to do, then just really put it in the gutter and go hell for leathers for a period of time.
53, and De La Fuente taking the role of water carrier at the moment today. He's been a pretty active chap in the last 3 or 4 days. De La Fuente, former rider for or many a big team in Spain. He's always worked as a sort of climbing domestique, or a punchy climbing domestique. He can go a fair way up a climb, can De La Fuente, and is always pretty useful. And on his day, he's given the chance to go and race his own race as well. A very capable rider. He's done a good job for Turku. I should imagine his experience is something that Turku are quite happy with.
Well, definitely, you know, any rider with the experience that he has, you know, is going to be valuable to relatively small, inexperienced team as such.
Well, they're saying this accent. We're saying the same thing about Napolitano the other day, that they give him a little bit of a boost. But Napo not in the race anymore, and also a little bit worse injured than perhaps was first thought.
Yeah, you know, I went for a run last night when I got back to the hotel, and ended up running with the sport director from Accent Jobs, and he said that Napolitano you know, hurt himself quite badly. Something to do with his rib cage, and sort of got himself a bit squashed there for a bit. So they reckon he's going to be off the bike for about 10 days at least before he can get back into riding again. And someone like Napolitano, who is a senior man in that particular team, and also one of the he turns in to be a focal point in the team as well because of his sprinting capability. You know, he said the boys have been feeling kind of a little bit lost, but in the end, Stefan van Dijk, he took a 5th place yesterday on that finish, and you know, I was a bit surprised that Van Dijk was still there at the after that hard climb.
I'm always surprised by Van Dijk.
Yeah, but you know, he's been around for a long time. He knows where to place himself, and okay, I didn't expect it, but you know, you've got to take your hat off to the man who obviously got himself over that climb, and when he gets in within sight of a sprint, then he's very good. And you know, if Van Dijk had Napolitano or someone there with him as well, then it could have been a completely different outcome.
Let's just run through the riders who are no longer in this race, and as we've been mentioning them anyway. Mark Renshaw broke a collarbone and neck twisted about a bit after that crash on the stage when he was leading out his teammate Theo Bos, who's also out. Theo Bos and Mark Renshaw from Blanco, Jonas van den Echten and Olivier Kaysen of Lotto Belisol, both out. Kaysen and, well, van den Echten involved with the crash with Renshaw and Bos. Kaysen involved with a crash with Fumiaki Beppu of Orica Green Edge and a couple of others. Beppu out as well on day 3, I think. Danny Napolitano goes out in that crash with the Renshaw and Bos and van den Echten. Klemont Koretsky was involved in the tumble that brought down Fumiaki Beppu and Olivier Kaysen. He's no longer in the race. The Bretagne Sèche rider, this is a bit of a shame really, because he's being on very good form and very aggressive, and he's a pretty smart rider, Koretsky, as well. Gets himself in the right break, which is interesting. Karel Domalski of Cararal, along with Aramendia, also out, so they have lost 2 men. Matthias Novak of CCC Polsat is out of the race. Jeremy Viscount of Cofidis, Kevin Claes of Cruel and Euphony with his teammate Stein Steels. They are both out as well. Final men out of the race. Just the one more from United Healthcare, one of the fantastic names of the peloton, Alessandro Bazzana. You can really say that one with some bite, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
These two still rolling along quite nicely. Ilicic, Slovenian, and Delestelli of the Italian, riding for Bardiani Valvoli. But the pace picking up quite nicely now. They had about 8 minutes when we came on air. And now it's down to 6 minutes and 10. And once again, it's Sochusson and Cofidis. Are they wanting to show something, or have they not got anything out of this yet? Because they have certainly got riders within reach. Jan Baggio is at 34 seconds. Nicolas Ede from Cofidis, both of them, at 43 seconds. And Sochusson have still got Maxi Mederel, who's climbing very well. 4th spot overall, 26 seconds.
Yeah, my guess is that they're going to want to try and get you know, to within striking distance, and have a couple of bonus seconds to fight out the bat as well, because I think it'd be difficult to distance anyone properly today. But you know, the bonus seconds are going to be very important when you get up to the finish line.
Just fueling up is Sander Cordeel of Lotto Belisol. This used to be the old Team Type 1 team, by the way, that you're looking at now. The Team Novo Nordisk. We've not really mentioned them at all. We haven't seen much of them, to be honest. They're here, not doing an awful lot, rolling along on that completely flat tubular tyre there. At the back is Martijn Verschuur. That's one of the advantages of tubs. You can do this, can't you? But
yeah,
where's his car gone?
Even today on the clincher tyres, most of them are very tight on the rims, and you can actually ride them for a very long time. This is a good wheel change by
Yeah, Verschoor got himself sorted out there, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Nice
very clever to ride along, wait for the team car to turn up, and then get off the bike and quickly just get the wheel out of the bike so that the mechanic only has to worry about putting a new one in again. But like I said, even the clincher tyres nowadays, they're so tight on the rim that you can ride around on the punctured one of them as well. But look how close he gets to the car. This is it basically hardly has to pedal at that point.
Yeah, exactly. They do come down quite hard on this these days. It depends on the commissaires, to be honest. It's not something that is applied with a great deal of consistency throughout the place. That's taken him up to speed. Now he's going to jump between cars, Verschoor. It's not too far back, but commissaires sometimes take a very, very dim view of bike riders riding right behind cars like that, because you're virtually pushing no hole in the air. Well, you're not pushing no hole in the air whatsoever, and you get towed up to an enormous speed very, very quickly indeed. That's Marc de Meer. Marc de Meer, I saw him last night actually at dinner, have a chat with him, the Curaçao national champion. He's always much younger than I expect, you know what I mean? 'Cause he's been around for quite a long time. But Marc de Meer saying, well, yesterday it was good in the break, but you know, nobody really wanted to commit, and then they all started playing silly people, so I just left them to it really. So nothing I can get out of that.
No, I would agree with Mark that, you know, the way they rode yesterday was just didn't quite understand the tactics. There were a few guys that I spoke to about that as well, and Stephen Deneve, the sport director for Accent Jobs, he said that when we were out running as well, that you know, he didn't quite understand how what the riders were thinking in that breakaway, because it just didn't make any sense to work so hard for such a long period of time, and then all of a sudden, because the gap has come down to 3 minutes, decide to then give it, you know, start attacking. Ilicic obviously taking the lead down these descents with the big wheels in.
Has his bars very, very high, doesn't he? Very highly tilted up with the levers on. It's something that never ever used to happen back in the day. If you go back, what, 20 years or so, you were almost curling your arms over the top of the levers to get to them, and it's a totally different way of riding now. Bar shapes have become far shallower in many cases. In Ilicic there's got the very much the low drop profiles on his bars, quite different to the one that Destelli's got on there, because that's a far more old school bar, that almost like a track bar. He has got ever so hard turned up like a lot of sportive riders.
Yeah,
it's a fashion, isn't it?
It is. Well, it's a fashion, and also a lot of that is coming from the cyclocross actually, because the cyclocross riders very rarely ride in the drops. They're always on the brake levers, on the hoods, and if you've got the brake levers tilted up quite high, then you're in a position where you're not going to bounce off over the top of the brake levers. It gives you a little bit more control of the bike as such. Although Ilicic is an extreme case as far as I'm concerned, because his handlebars are sitting very high up and then tilted up on top of that. So what he's doing is basically his forearms are pointing up in the air, so he's pushing wind, you know, in that position. So I think it's an attempt to be very aerodynamic, but he's kind of gone over the top and ended up in a position where he's actually gone unaerodynamic again.
5:51. Sorry, 5:11 is now the gap. 46 to go. It's just bringing it back. Just very incidentally, I did mention the other day, just forgot to go to a break, this will be my last commentary until the Tour de France. I'm going on a bit of a sabbatical. I think I might up my Twitter level if you want to follow what's going on. I'll do a bit of riding, maybe even do a bit of touring around the place.
You have a dream, and you have the passion. You want to go beyond what everybody else says is possible. Imagine you riding alongside a legend. This is your chance. Conquer the road.
Dikkat et oğlum.
Pass auf. Pass op, pass op, pass op.
Attentie ins badezimmer.
Nee.
Kom, kalm. Kalm.
Kijk, zo, doe maar.
Kom op.
Follow the score of your favorite team live and find the latest results and features with Eurosport's live score.
Get Eurosport.com for your iPhone free. Every day sees full and expert coverage of sports news with dozens of articles and an easy one-stop video section that lets you live and relive the very best moments of sport. Follow all the scores, fixtures and tables live. Eurosport.com, the reference and sport apps available on the App Store.
Plenty of liquids being taken on board today. They need it. That is Di Corrado doing the water carry. Another puncture. Rear wheel once again. This time for Corella and Euphanes. Jiri Stelad. Sort of spinning along. We were talking about the fact that a lot of clinches are very tight on the rim as well. So a certain German manufacturer, well-known German manufacturer, there's two big ones. You take based in the UK, yeah, in the UK, based in Aberystwyth, put it that way.
Yeah.
Their clinches are exceptionally tight on some rims. And as with the suppleness of some of the carcasses, you could ride along like this for ages.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the problem is as well that the rims vary that, tiny little bits. So some tires that you get and you can just put, take them on and off by hand basically on certain rims, and then you get the same tire on a different rim, and you can hardly get on them get them on with tire levers. So it does vary a little bit, but nowadays I've got to say that the clinches are so nice and so fast as well that with borderline. Although I'm still very much in favour of the tubular tyre, it is borderline to the point where you can start riding clinches and be happy on them.
Yeah, I do. There's quite a price difference between the two types of tyres. Generally. A really good tubular being more expensive than a clincher, although the clinchers are coming up in price as well, to have to say. But I mean, for your average rider going out on a Sunday, or with the lads or whatever, or the lasses, or going on a sportive, only a personal opinion, I can't see any point in riding tubulars whatsoever.
No, me neither. It's just going to be a real pain to change any punctures that you have or anything like that. So basically, unless you've got a support vehicle right behind you, I wouldn't go with anything for but clinches, and that is part of the reason why I'm going clincher for my Ironmans, is because I haven't got a vehicle behind me to do my service. So basically, just popping the tire off, putting a new inner tube in, and then going again is far quicker than trying to stand there and mess around with a tubular tyre, trying to get that off. If you glued it on properly, it's virtually impossible to get a tubular tyre off. And because the distance is so vast that you're doing it, you're looking at 8.5, 9, maybe 9.5 hours out there. A 5-minute stop to change an inner tube. It's not really, well, it's obviously going to set you back, but there's enough time to play around with afterwards that you can actually continue the competition as such.
Argo Shimano car being called back by Race Radio for a puncture as well, so a lot of bits of grit on the road today. It was Andrei Kasheshkin doing his turn on the front. Colombia willing to put a man in here as well. Once again, Atapuma is the man that they'll try and push up the road if they possibly can, but there we are. That's exactly what we're talking about. The team car gets up there.
How not to do a wheel change, really. Always get off the bike for the mechanic. It's a right pain for the mechanic to get the wheel in.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever weight you're taking off the frame, it's still much more difficult to manoeuvre and pick up than it is if you're off the bike. Yeah. So a lot of punctures going around today already, and Argo Shimano waiting up for Warren. Yeah, it's nice of him, isn't it? He's a top 20 position at the moment, which is why they're waiting for him. 1 minute and 25 seconds down.
Yeah, this is a lot of the time though, when you see teammates are waiting for a rider, they drop back, and then all of a sudden the guy who's had the punctures coming through on the back of a car like this, and he basically just about drops his teammates that come back to help him out, because he's sitting there nicely tucked in behind the car, and the rest of them are having to work so hard. As you can see, can't remember to see who that was, but he certainly wasn't happy about it. That's
Thomas Demasu.
But a lot of the time, when I ran teams in the last couple of years, I've always said, look, if the team leader punctures, then go back to the back of the peloton and wait there until you see your rider coming up again through the convoy. And a lot of sometimes the comments there can be a little bit on the nasty side, and let a big gap go in between his car and the back of the peloton, and we're talking 100 meters sometimes, which can be an issue to close down. And at that point then, if you're sitting on the back of the peloton, you see your rider come and you drop back to him and then take him across that final gap up to the peloton, and that's by far the safest way really to do it, because otherwise if something happens in the peloton and it goes hell for leather all of a sudden, then you've lost 3, maybe 4, sometimes 5 riders who are sitting there trying to wait for the GC man. There you go, that's my...
That's your assessment of what you do, Eddie Teammate.
Yes.
Giovanni Bernardo, son of Jean-René Bernardo, team manager, general manager. Jean-René Bernardo, a very punchy, aggressive little rider in his day, rode for Peugeot, wore the yellow jersey of the Tour de France. I was just trying to think how many riders within this race have worn the Tour de France yellow jersey. Directors I'm talking about. Probably only him. Well, I'm not sure that Jean-René Bernardo is here. Haven't seen him.
No, I haven't seen him either.
It's not quite a big enough race for him to be on, I think. He's got plenty of other fish to fry. He's still sorting out things for the Giro and so forth. It's Pozzato.
He was looking very, very trimmed yesterday when I saw him in the hotel. I had a quick chat with Pippo about see what was going on, and he said he found the classics really, really difficult this year. Something, he'd done everything as well as he could. He'd worked hard. He'd prepared himself. He was lean, possibly even too lean. But he said after Milan-San Remo, he was struggling to really find his legs. His legs just wouldn't work. And I said to him, look, maybe it's just the fact that the cold that he got on Milan-San Remo. There were so many riders who lost feeling in both feet and certain parts of their body that maybe hadn't been covered up properly. Maybe that sort of set him back is enough to not have his legs working properly in the classics. But he said after the classics he came back home, had a week off his bike, recovered a little bit, trained, and now he's got here and he said his legs are feeling fantastic. So he, didn't quite understand what was going on, but he was in good spirits anyway. And I just said to him, look, don't worry about it, just go and race your bike instead.
Yeah. He's having a bit of fun, I think, out here as well. Yeah. He seems to be in good form. I mean, he looks in good shape, I have to say. Better shape than I've seen him in the last guy. He's better than last year anyway.
Well, Pippo's got one of these sort of brand marks on him, really, that he's a bit of a lazy boy, he's a bit of a playboy. He doesn't really do work that hard, and he's got the good lifestyle, and that's about it, really. But just for the record, he's one of the harder working guys out there, and he wants to be performing. He knows what his capabilities are, and he wants to perform at that level. But for some reason, he's just not getting it quite right in terms of getting the power down on the road at the right time.
This is another rear puncture. This time is Francisco Moreno of Cajarual. A lot of punctures going around today. Actually, Kevin Scholar on Twitter saying, I was under the opinion that in pro races, and in particular closed road races, punctures could be at a minimum. Not so. Well, they don't. I mean, they don't go along sweeping the road specifically or getting rid of it. This is, all they do is stop traffic going down them. So they are as you would ride along them every other day of the week.
Whatever gravel patch is there normally will still be there when we come. So
quite right.
You know, it's certain roads are worse than others for puncturing on, and these ones are particularly rough. So it might not be in today's today's sort of grit that's got stuck in the tyre. It might have been from yesterday. It might have been, you know, a little tiny bit of glass that's still been left in there that the mechanic hadn't spotted when he went through the tyres. And looking at my tyres, they've worn very, very quickly on these sort of coarse, very harsh roads. And you know, you can see there's almost like a flat spot on the tyre being worn down on by just doing you know, the riding that I'm doing. I'm not putting in the same amount of accelerations and hard braking as these guys are.
This is Jule Jensen doing the water carrying today. Interesting you should say that. I mean, we looked at your tyres the other day, didn't we? There are quite a few cuts in them as well, and that may be something that's affecting them on these rough roads. And as you say, it's often not really talked about, but the tyres do soften up in this sort of extreme heat on these roads, and they do pick up bits of grit that embed themselves in those tyres, and then it could be from yesterday, it could be from earlier in the day. It doesn't necessarily mean the grit that they're picking up now, but the roads are particularly rough, which brings us to another question. John Clapthorpe, I think, is it John, is it? Saying, are they using these big, long Jim Clapthorpe roads for a reason? It's, yeah, just because they are the big main roads. They aren't really any other smaller roads unless you come through villages. And these are the roads they're using. Most of them have been built fairly recently, and therefore they are long and fairly straight. So it's just the best roads in the country to be using. But just look at that. That's another reason they use them, because it is incredibly mountainous here. Everywhere you go, there's a lot of serious hills, and so all the roads are pretty much kept down into the valleys, and therefore they're fairly long and fairly straight and fairly new. 2 minutes 43 with 36 kilometers to go.
Donnez vos places, s'il vous plaît. Merci.
Oh, what a shot!
Goodness only knows how she managed to do it in the end. It's out!
And there has been only one winner.
This was the plan.
Look at that! Perfectly delivered, and he's just said goodbye to everybody.
Hall goes bang, and the Suns are going to go on and win round one. Going to look to hit the ground running this evening in front of their home crowd support. That is absolutely amazing from Adler.
Djibril Cissé levels for Al Garrafa. Well, a monumental mess up in the centre of that Al Ain defence. Omar, it's an equaliser from Kembo.
All sports, all emotions. May on Eurosport 2.
.35 kilometers remaining with 2:25 on the clock, separating these two from the peloton, and that gap has just plummeted over the last, we've been 15, nearly 20 kilometers we've been on air. It's just come right down as the teams get to the front, start to work for this final first category climb up to Selçuk today. Well, it could be anybody's today. We'll talk about that in a second. We've not quite got there yet. Hope I hope we get a good shot of our two breakaway men again, because we were looking at it in the break. We've seen them before, but the Slovenian rider, Elisic, you just have a look at his jersey, and it looks like, you'll see what I mean in a minute, it looks like a 20-year-old jersey that's been put in the wash over and over and over and over and over again. What it really is salt that's been sweat, or salts that have been sweated out, and it's just absolutely covered. Good illustration of why I have to keep on taking fluids. And what's the latest thinking, Magnus? I know you're really up with this, and one of your sponsors is a nutrition company. What is the latest thinking of what you have to be sticking into your body on a day like today? We've seen so much water carrying going on. That's just fluid carrying, really.
To be brutally honest with you, when you're in a race like this, you can't be too selective with what you're drinking. You basically, whatever comes up that's liquid is what you end up putting into yourself. You know, obviously the teams are sort of preparing bottles before the race starts, and a lot of the time 50% is probably water, and the other 50% is some form of a solution. You know, some teams I know using some form of sort of minerals and salt solutions to help you sort of absorb and put some of the minerals back into you, seeing as you are sweating them out an awful lot. But you know, it's so various. Italian teams, they got their own way of doing things. The French, basically, you get cordial in your water, and that is about as advanced as it's going to get. If you're going out to other teams, I'm talking more like more of the American teams, really. They very, very much in trying to sort of go through and judge, okay, we're going to use this for the first part of the race, and then this is going to be for the second part of the race, and they try and stack the cool boxes so that, you know, they go through them in the right way. But today, you know, the amount of bottles that these guys are going through would be incredible. Looks like we've got a bit of crosswind action going on here. Omega Pharma up on the front, and if you guys might get caught out by this one.
Yep. If you're used to watching, if you're used to racing in the Low Countries, in Belgium and the Netherlands, this is exactly the sort of action they're used to. The wind coming across the front. You saw a little bit of an echelon forming there. If you've not watched it before, an echelon is a sort of a sliding line across the road where the man is facing into the wind is the lead rider, and he sort of protects them all the way down the line with a sort of three-quarter sliding pattern across the road. Let's have a see if we can see a good shot of Ilisic's shoulders. There, look at the amount of salt that's been sweated out on that jersey. That light patch all across his shoulder is what he's been sweating out there. And they're almost going to be caught. That looks a little bit less than 1 minute and 33 seconds to me. 32 kilometers to go, with Omega Pharma doing the effort on the front now. Serge Pauwels was in good shape the other day, and I think he's an outsider for today, to be honest. Serge Pauwels, he's got the opportunity to do so as well, because he's over a minute down on the GC, so they will look at him and go, well, he's dangerous, but he's not that dangerous. We'll be looking at each other, and I reckon with 1 minute and 12 seconds, 15th spot, Serge Pauwels, they're thinking about the possibility of a stage win for him today.
I certainly think you're right on that one. You know, he looked very, very strong, and more so until we got really, really steep on that mountaintop finish. And today's climb is, I've got to say, very similar to, in terms of gradient, to the last mountaintop finish that we had. Certainly up until we get to that really crazy steep part.
Interesting. See how much they go, but 1 minute 12 is an effective cushion, isn't it, Magnus? I mean, he's got the opportunity to take his chance a little bit.
Yeah, I think he can use that one and to his advantage a little bit, as long as he doesn't go too early. Because if he goes too early, then you know, riders are going to think, oh, if he's going strong, then he'll put that, you know, minute into us on this climb, and all of a sudden we got a different problem on our hands.
Wow. Look at that. There's civilization for you. Looks like a few friends' houses, I know, to be honest. Do with finishing. You thought they'd have finished it after 3,000 years, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd hope so, wouldn't you?
Soja Son right up the front here. They've been exceptionally active. I tell you what, if Maxime Mederel is climbing as well as he was the other day and can respond to a little bit, because he's not quite a dancing on the pedals rider, he's quite big, but if he can respond to people, he's only at 26 seconds, big chances for him. And of course, this is Kasheshkin doing a lot of work on the front here for Astana as well. That would be a real breakthrough if they could take Elise's jersey, Soja-Son, with just a couple of days to go. They really haven't pulled off a big one yet, have they?
No, they haven't. It's about time, really, isn't it?
Very active. All fairly relaxed yesterday in the hotel. One of the few times on the Tour of Turkey, and you do get this in some of the smaller tours, where everybody was just basically in the same resort hotel.
Yeah.
And it was nice speaking to people yesterday. Andre Greipel, had a long chat with Andre Greipel. He's in really good spirits, really enjoying himself, really relaxed as you would be, and he's absolutely the class of the sprinting field.
No, he's. I mean, he is one of the fastest, or probably one of the 3-4 fastest men in the world, and. You know, after winning a couple of stages here, everything is going well, preparing for the Tour de France, and you know, he's in a happy place, and who can fault him?
Would these roads be all right to ride on as a small group rather than a peloton? Is there a huge amount of traffic? Not too much on some of these roads between the towns, but there's quite a few trucks.
They're not the best drivers in the world, let's put it that way, in terms of being cycling friendly. But there's usually quite a wide sort of bit on the side of the road which you can ride on. I haven't found any sort of bigger problems with riding the stages that I've done. So no, I'd say you know, the more out in the countryside you get between towns and cities, the better it is, especially down, you know, if you're going from Antalya up to forgotten now what the name was, where we did the mountaintop finish, but that ride was El Mali. That was just phenomenal in terms of both scenery. There were some big roads out there still, but you know, there weren't hardly any traffic whatsoever, and just a gorgeous day out on the bike.
And if you're interested in doing a bit of climbing, as they were at El Mali, although the roads are heavy, but they're very well surfaced and so forth, you ain't going to make much trucks up there, because it's just they're too tight. So it's going to be just you and the odd car passing you. To be fair, I reckon this would be an absolutely magnificent place to go mountain biking. In fact, I'm going to try and arrange something, because mountain bike touring would be just unbelievable out here.
Yeah. I'm a bit upset that we missed the descent down to the hotel where we were staying on that day. It was the better part of 2 hours of descending in the car.
Yeah, quite. Yeah. 12 seconds there are going to be called to any second. End of the day for Lisic and Della Stelle. Orica Green Edge on the right-hand side of your shot there in the blue, dark blue, green and white. Cam Meyer in very good form, their team leader. Soja-Son in that mid-green and white in the middle, just weaving the way up the centre. Maxime Mederel lying 4th overall at 26 seconds as the catch is made. Well done, sir. Bit of a pat on the back from Della Stelle. And right in front of you, you can see on the right-hand side of your shot, left-hand side of the peloton, is the emerald green of Europcar with those green helmets. They have the leader's jersey, remember, on the shoulders of Nathaniel Behani. And I'm not quite sure why Soja-Son are still riding hard at the front. We're still 30 k's to go. But yeah, you're the professional, Magnus. You tell me.
Wow. I'm still trying to work that one out myself there, David, but I'm also quite surprised that Europcar sitting out there in the middle of no man's land. A little bit of crosswind coming in at that point, but why sit out there if you don't have to? You know, just try and tuck yourself in the peloton, save the energy. 30 kilometers to go, you haven't really got too much to worry about. You know, we're about to turn into a full-on headwind. And we're going up towards the second category climb just before we drop down and go towards the finish. But still, yeah, like I said, there's no real panic in terms of having to sit right near the front, and with Europcar, they're just wasting energy.
Second category climb coming at Tirmanish after 162.5 kilometers to go. 19.5k will be the point to the finish at that time. Right now, with 29 kilometers to go, they were expected to be here medium time at about 15:36 local time. They're closer to the slower time, 15:48. So they've been ploughing away into the wind, and the heat's not helping either with that, is it?
No, definitely not. You know, when you just feel a bit lethargic when you're sitting out on the bike in this kind of heat, but at the same time, you know, it's much nicer to be too hot than it is to be too cold, which we've had an awful lot of so far in, you know, all the bike races across the world this year. But you know, it just brings up new issues, new problems, different problems to when it's cold. And like I said, hydrating yourself, keeping on top of eating, because when you're sitting out here, there's very dry air. You just feel like your mouth goes dry, completely dry. You keep on drinking and keep on drinking, and before you know it, you've got that much liquid in your stomach. You struggle to actually put any solid foods in, and with that, you're then running low on proper energy as such to use later on in the race. So finding the balance between drinking and eating is vital on these days, and it's very difficult to do.
Colombia now taking up the pace setting. Colombia would like to get something out of this as well. Darwin Atapuma, although he couldn't pull off the win the other day at El Mali, still a danger man, 40 seconds down. We've got a cracking race, really, haven't we, Magnus? Because the riders are all very, very closely linked together. A shot of Andy Fenn in the middle there from Omega Pharma Quickstep. But a lot of the riders, top 10 riders, are very close together, less than a minute separating them.
Yeah, it is. I think that's going to be make this final climb today very interesting, because it's really anyone's race so far.
The big teams still waiting.
They're all kind of grouping together, the teams, and trying to make sure that they at least got 3 or 4 riders sitting together, just in case they end up getting that little bit of crosswind, because the wind is quite strong at this point, although it's more of a headwind. But you never know, and also we are running in towards that climb, and looking like maybe Colombia want to put the pressure on there. It's not a particularly steep climb, but it's one of those climbs that you know, big ring and a lot of power, and you can go quickly up it.
I'm wondering if they're this is a tactic just to try and make that selection, to cut this group down. And what they don't want is any sort of, as Sean would say, cowboys in the way to make that selection on the second category climb that comes 19.5 kilometers to go. Whittle this group down to maybe about 40 riders or so as they go into the bottom of the final climb of the day up to Selçuk. But Omega Pharma Quickstep wanting to add their weight to this and push on as well. Nice to see Neta Pintura up here as well. Pimenta has been climbing particularly well. And he may well have another chance today. They must feel confident in him. So we've got three teams working hard on the front now, trying to push it along. Second category climb, it's not particularly steep, but steady. And as you say, Magnus, if they can get it in the big ring and just go wallop, there'll be a lot of people hurting at the back.
It definitely will be, but it's second category climbs can sometimes be harder than you know, a first category climb, depending on how he's been ridden. Okay, today we've got it's more of a headwind going up the climb, but if you get a little bit of crosswind, a second category climb for a little climber who's can turn over a big gear on a hill, he will fly up one of these climbs, and for any bigger rider, you know, you're going to be in a world of trouble.
It's interesting, isn't it? There's such a fluid, dynamic sport with so many different things that can go on. There is no real right or wrong opinion in cycling. Opinions are formed by experience and people's abilities to read races and the stuff that they've ridden in the past as professionals. But you put 6 ex-professionals around the table in the same room and they'll have 6 different opinions about what might happen next or how the race should be run. It's such a fluid and dynamic sport, but it is interesting even in the physicality of it, that when you get to a second category climb, as Magnus is saying, sometimes can be much harder than a sort of super steep first cat or category climb. We don't have all category climbs here in the Tour of Turkey, and not for everybody, but for some. And as Magnus was saying, if you get a little punchy climber, somebody who can dance up things on a very super steep one, with a much shallower climb, and these guys really put the speed down for the big rouleurs who can manage to do that and just about get over, or the power climbers, then it's a completely different ball game. So a climb just isn't a climb, is it? They're all different.
Yeah, they're all different, and you know, the different ways of getting up them as well. And unfortunately, a second category climb is always going to be a climb that you end up doing on the big chain ring, and that brings a different pressure on the legs compared to, you know, riding on a steeper climb where you're riding on the little chain ring. Certain riders really don't climb well on the big chain ring. Other riders just can't climb unless, you know, it's a big chain ring. And there's a lot of the guys, especially if you've seen a bigger statured rider, you'll find that he'll be in trouble if he has to go down to the little chain ring. Apart from that, you know, he'll be fine.
Thomas Remakas going back to the cart for Team Novo Nordisk. It's nice to have these teams in with a sort of with a cause that they are promoting. In this case, sort of diabetes awareness and also the ability to sort of deal with diabetes and to show people you can do sports like this with conditions like diabetes. Still all together, and all the teams letting Colombia do the work here. Can't say I blame them.
I think, like I say, it's too much headwind, and it's a little bit too easy. Kind of sit on the wheels and just get pulled up this climb. I gotta say, I find there's an interesting color combination on the Colombia's bikes here. They seem to have mismatched them a little bit.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it? All over the shop, really. I think they may be there to reflect, I don't know, sponsors' colours or something, but they are all in different colours. It's that slightly vertigo-making shot again, isn't it? Hey, Art, that's a good illustration of where the roads are and so forth. You can see that actually the stuff at the side is not necessarily roads, they're tracks up to the fields and back down to the main road again. Pretty much, I would guess. I mean, I'm not even as an ex-archaeologist, I'm not a great expert in the roads of Asia Minor, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if roads have followed these sort of particular directions through the valleys for the last, you know, 4,000 or 5,000 years as tracks and then bigger roads and so forth. I wouldn't think they deviated much other than what engineering can allow as things go on.
I think you're right with that. You know, it just, you know, the only difference is that the roads have got bigger and they've really gone to town on making them quite big throughout the whole country, it seems like.
Really lobbing a bid on into the undergrowth there. We've said it many times on the big tours. They often have sweep up teams. I'm not sure what they have here at the Tour of Turkey. I will find out for you, and I think they do go. They're extremely well organised, actually, much more organised than possibly at some of the other races I've been to. It looks like chaos when you arrive at the finish line, but it just happens, and it's beautifully turned out at the finish, all for the VIPs, for the press. for all the cameras and stuff are going out. A lot of the crews that are being used here to put up the structures at the end are either Belgian or Dutch or German, and mixed in with Turkish as well. So they do a very, very good job. The officials are always beautifully turned out in their suits and ties. They're incredibly kind to everybody and very welcoming. And I have to say, I've been mightily impressed with the way it's been organised here.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you on that one. It's one of the pardon me, one of the better organised tours that I've ever been to.
Radiani Valvioli coming to the front as well. Pagani was climbing well the other day, but he was out in the break yesterday, so I'm not quite sure how good his legs are going to be.
No, you never know, but they got to try something, haven't they? And you never know how good your legs are going to be until you try, do you?
Just going to see another bidon lobbed into the side there. A lot of the bidons now being used by the peloton are biodegradable, so that's one change.
Oh,
what's going on here then? Oh, there we go.
Bit of off-roading.
Yep. Jonathan Cantwell won a stage in the Tour de Taiwan last year. And yeah, doing a bit of off-roading. Surprising, as we've seen so many punctures on the road. I'm surprised he hasn't got one there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders from Colombia setting the pace here on the front at 22 kilometers out.
Yeah, from this point, this climb does get a little bit steeper. The last sort of 2 kilometers of it is, you can certainly feel it. Although they're saying that this is the start of the climb, it's been going uphill for about 5k already. So they're doing what I call a Spanish climb, where you get to climb for about half an hour before they put the start of the climb. So the climb looks much shorter than what it actually is. Another puncture.
Yep, bit panicky. Sonny Calabria, another great name in the peloton. He should have been. He's another one that should have been in Goodfellas or something like that. You could make up a great Scorsese cast list from some of the names of Italian riders. Yeah. It would be great.
They're struggling with this wheel, aren't they?
They are. A bit difficult to get in the frame, maybe, or maybe the chain wasn't quite aligned properly.
Well, you know, sometimes the different model of frame, different, and with that it comes different dropouts, and it's so difficult for the mechanic then to sort of know what dropouts are coming up, and you know who's had the puncture, and the quick releases aren't rightly adjusted for it. Then that's why it's so important that just about everyone, any bike manufacturer has the same width dropouts regardless of what frame model it is. So the guys who are racing, you know, they can have everything set up and ready, because it should just be bang the wheel in and close the quick release over, and that's, you know, you should be on your way.
Frédéric Robert, that first concerted effort of the day were Crelan Eufany and Sojourson going with them. 21 kilometers still to go, and this is a little attack group trying to get away now. We've got Crelan Eufany and Vini Fantini. I think is it United Healthcare who've got the last rider in here trying to get across? Yes, certainly is. So 4 men now trying to push away from the peloton. I don't think they'll be too worried about it. Depends who these 4 are, of course, but they're not too worried about it at the moment. Certainly the big teams are not responding, so the riders they've seen going away, and it was in reasonably slow motion, they're allowed to be able to see them, are not a massive threat. It was Kevin Peters and De La Place who've gone away, you can see. And I think the other rider is Andreato of... there we are, look. Andreato, the Brazilian rider at the front there. Kevin Peters of Crelan Newfree, which used to be Landbau Credit, by the way, which is they've just changed. They've been around for an awful long time. And Delaplace going again. That's his designated role this tour, isn't it? Delaplace, whenever anything goes, go for it.
Yeah. It's certainly been out there enough times, hasn't he?
Well, they're going to have to work pretty hard to get away on this climb, because Colombia are setting enough of a pace as Astana start to bring their man Kevin Seldrez up into a reasonable position, keep him out of the way. Frédéric Robert is having a bit of trouble here at the back, hanging on. Nobody's come to the front to rip it to pieces yet. And now Carual thinking, well, this looks like something that might go. I wouldn't be surprised if we get another couple of riders coming out here. How long before we see a Turku rider coming to get across, I would imagine?
Well, I think they've got to start moving soon as well, haven't they? They've certainly been on the move every other day this in this tour.
Yes. Sergei Grechin, the rider from the Ukraine, is currently the mountains classification leader. Clearly not too worried about this one. The other riders in the breakaway are not doing an awful lot. Well, Mustafa Sayar at 12 seconds on the general classification. Sayar today, well, I'm not so certain. He'll be up there. If he's got the legs, he'll be up there. But I think some of the other riders with a quicker cadence may break him today.
I think they might do, because he does suffer to respond to any kind of tempo changes, and this kind of a climb that we got today should really lend itself to the punchier type of rider who can change pace again and again. I mean, it's going to be difficult to call at the end of the day, but I am quietly hoping that Seldrez is going to walk away and get a win, get a stage win at some point soon. And with that, obviously, he would ride himself into the leader's jersey, wouldn't he?
Yeah, with 10 seconds bonus as well. Depends where Bahani finishes.
True, very true.
But Seldrez looking nice and relaxed yesterday. Wants to have another go as Andreato pushes away again. Here we go, Turku on the attack here. Looks like De La Fuente trying to get the mountains points. Second, oh, this is difficult. Bahani, Nathaniel Bahani, the leader, has a mechanical puncture. He's got two riders with him. This is difficult. This is dangerous times. Still a long way out, so shouldn't be too much of a problem. They're not very far up the road. So quickly done, smartly done. They obviously didn't panic there, Magnus, but still a bit of a heart in mouth for the leader.
Yeah, definitely. Be interesting to see now as well is how he handles the pressure, if he panics or if he just, gets going with it and sorts himself out.
Well, maybe a little bit of a panic. I mean, he's supposed to stop on the right-hand side of the road, so he's not had time to think about that. He's just realised he's got a flat and just stopped bang in the middle of the road.
Yeah, that is a potential fine from the commissaires as well for giving service on the wrong side of the road.
You have to stop on the side where the cars are stopping, the cars are driving. You can't stop on the other side of the road for quite obvious safety reasons, because it does get a bit heated sometimes, and a car can, spear across the road to try and get to its stricken man at the edge of the road, and that'll be the end of that. There'll be some accident waiting to happen somewhere. What's he doing up the road? Sasha Modolo.
Funnily enough, though, when you get over the top of this climb, it does drop down for about a kilometre or so, and then it's flat and flat and then flat, and then goes a little bit uphill again, and then you get the proper descent down towards the final climb of the day.
He's probably wondered where he's going as well. It's Orica Greenedge now taking up the pace heading on the front here. Cameron Meyer, their man. It's 34 seconds down on the overall classification. They're just rolling along at the moment. There's no attack going on here, which is good. Little bit of confusion going on with Europcar here.
Well, I think you know, the other Europcar riders didn't realise the Bahani had punctured or had a mechanical, so they're all kind of saying sorry for not stopping and waiting for you. But you know, you don't need more than 2 riders to wait for you, really.
This is a sort of a spin-off of people of having radios, isn't it? We're so used to having a radio that everybody stops and drops back. This is racing as it used to be. They've had 2 riders. They've got Bjorn Turo is the main rider doing the. He's had a great tour. Very, very impressive, Bjorn Turo. He did attack at the bottom of he was in the breakaway and then attacked the break in El Mali and did a very good job. Stayed away for quite a long time before his teammate Bahani went past to take the leader's jersey and the stage win. And a very good tactic. Stay out there as long as you possibly can. Makes everybody else chase you down. So I've been very impressed by him. But yeah, get radios and you've got 6 or 7 people, well, 6 people who can tell what's going on. But here's different.
Well, it is completely different, and that's why, you know, it becomes important to ride very closely as a group, and not necessarily putting the leader of the team in the last position in your little within your team sort of thing when you're riding on the road. Just, you know, keep 1 or 2 guys up there and then put the leader's jersey and then have 2 or 3, maybe 4 guys around him, you know, just around the back, almost creating like a little bubble for him as well, so it's got a little bit of space, so it doesn't have to stress around. And you know, stress is something that takes an awful lot of energy out of you as well.
Caruel clearly trying to animate things here. We haven't mentioned Caruel much, but Andanov, Daniel Andanov, is at 47 seconds in the overall classification, just 11th place, and just goes to show how close things are at the top. I like this team, Caruel. They're always attacking riders. They had a great tour of the Basque Country, and they're always having a go.
Yeah, they're a very aggressive bunch of riders, aren't they?
Problems. Getting a spray from the medical car, I think. Graham Brown, has he been bitten by something, probably, or stung by something? We saw Mikhail Ignatiev the other day having a bee or a wasp or something down the front of his jersey. It's not common, is it? What's the worst time you've ever had it?
The worst time is probably about 100 metres into the prologue back in whenever that was, when Dave Miller won his
Tour de France prologue.
Yeah, Tour de France prologue. Basically, a bee sort of snuck inside my skin suit, and I just couldn't get it out, so I just had to basically whack it and try and kill it whilst it was still in my skin suit, and then get it out after the stage finish.
And there people were thinking you were banging yourself to hype yourself up.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
No. 15 kilometers remaining on stage 6 here of the Tour of Turkey, running into Selçuk. 182 kilometers in the blistering heat to a lot of people just deciding that it's time to up the pace a little bit. And Orica Green Edge seem to have I'm a bit surprised Astana did so much work early on, because, as you were saying, Magnus, there was nobody really to challenge it at Kevin Sildres and the two breakaway riders.
No.
Why ride on the front?
Europcar has got the leaders' jerseys. Up to them to make sure that they don't let that group go too far up the road. If you want to be nice, you put one rider in to help Europcar, but that's about it, really. And you know, just wait and save the energy from your riders until hopefully you can make some damage with it, or you're gonna need it. Oh, well, if everything goes well for Seeldrade, he will need those riders tomorrow to ride for him all day.
Omega Pharma in the centre, Serge Pals going well, has enough of a gap to possibly challenge for the stage today. 1 minute and 12 seconds. Cameron Meyer, on the other hand, for the team in the front, Orica Greenedge, she's only at 34 seconds. He's in the top 10. Was going quite well yesterday. How much do you think the teams have recce'd out this course before they come here?
I think they've tried to do as much recce as they can. They probably had, you know, the Massoigneurs are driving up here beforehand. They might have called back to say, look, this is what the climb looks like, and yeah, wide roads, narrow roads, all that sort of stuff. You're giving them as much information as is possible. Get that one back to the team car, and then you know, when you've got one of your riders coming back for bottles, then the team manager will then relay the information and say, look, this is what it's like, and so on.
Somebody writing in on Twitter saying that apparently the Colombian riders get to choose their own colour schemes for their bikes.
Really?
Well, there you go.
Interesting. As long as it's fluorescent, yeah?
Yeah, as long as it's fluorescent and harks back to the 1980s. Leslie Haynes saying, where is that really high shot being taken from? Space! The final Turkish frontier. They've got a big satellite up there that they're taking from. Actually, I don't know, is the answer to that.
But it's a great shot, though, isn't it?
It's fantastic. It just goes to show the sort of layout of the land is, and as if on cue, as we were talking about roads. Yeah. There's only one place for the road to go, really, isn't there? Yeah, exactly. And that's through the middle. Well, certainly up the pace with 11 kilometres to go. They want to get to the bottom of this climb in reasonable control, I think. To Orica Greenedge, not wanting anything else to go away at this particular point, although I think it's fairly belt and braces approach. If you're looking at the fact, would anybody attack and go away far enough? No, it's too flat and too fast here.
You're right on that one. It's definitely too fast, but it's still good to keep the pace up there, and it's just that little bit safer if it's in that way. Coming into Selçuk now, and just got to go into town, go 180 degrees around the roundabout, and then back another kilometre or so, and then we'll turn right and go up, start going up the climb.
Selçuk's been around for an awful long time. If you look at any book of history of this area, ancient history of this area, you'll see Selçuk named. This has always been a religious centre. They're turning left in just a second, heading in towards the climb. This has been around, what, 6,500 years here now.
Yeah, the climb goes up left here by the junction they just went past. So you've got to go into the town now, turn around, and come back out to that very junction and turn right up.
Yeah, there's a big roundabout. They go around and then back out again. Yeah. Yeah, this was a religious centre for pre-antiquity and then the polytheistic antiquity and then Christianity as well. Actually, we're heading up today to the Church of the Virgin Mary. Right at the top. Still a pilgrimage route actually up to Selçuk, so that is where the top of the climb is. There's a festival every year at the top of this climb to celebrate to celebrate Mary's Assumption. Although it only really started off in the 1980s when the Pope came to visit, if I remember rightly. 9 kilometres to go. Omega Pharma have the bit between their teeth, as do Orica Greenedge. Wanted to keep the pace very high indeed as they run into the bottom of this climb. They're going to round the traffic island and back down again, and then of course they'll have to hang a right into the climb.
Yeah, it's all happening here now. Everyone wants to go first in through this this roundabout, and I'm not really sure why they're putting so much pressure on it, because you've still got another 1.5 kilometers easily before you turn right off this road, and then probably about another kilometer of flat before you start climbing again. So keep the pressure on, yes, but not to the point where it looks like it's the lead out for the Champs-Élysées.
Francesco Grabon gets to the front now.
That's Stegmans, isn't it?
Wasn't really looking. Oh, it is Stegmans, sorry. Yep. Grabon's a bit further back. How can you mistake Stegmans? He's about 7'9". He's huge. He looks in good shape actually as well. Last night he looked all sort of relaxed and in pretty trim shape.
Yeah, it's changed a lot as a rider, I think, over the last few years. You know, he used to be very quick in a sprint, but sort of laid that off a little bit. Does a bit more sort of heavy workload nowadays than what he used to do.
Yeah, I don't think he had a great time at Discovery or Katusha, did he?
No,
it didn't suit him at all. Didn't like that an awful lot. That's Michael Hepburn. Hepburn coming from that fantastic Team Pursuit background onto the road. He's doing a very fine job. And he'll get his day as well. Look at Saxo Tinkoff sitting here as well towards the front. Marcel Kittel looking back over his shoulder, still here as well on the front. But it's Saxo Tinkoff bringing their man to the front. Rory Sutherland has been climbing very, very well here. And Astana have interspersed themselves in between that, and you can see Kevin Sildrez just sitting there, keeping himself out of trouble, right in the centre of your shots, nestled behind the riders from Saxo Tinkoff. Bit messy as they come into this corner to start the climb.
Yeah, I could see Mustafa Sayar sitting in there as well, third man on general classification. He's only a couple of places back from Sildrez.
Well, I'm wondering if perhaps some of these riders, well, I think Astana and Sutherland are definitely trying to put Behani under pressure with this sort of top speed that they're going at.
No, definitely they would, and
Sutherland can see himself improving as the week goes on, and so they're really drilling it into the bottom of this climb now. Seldere is lying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back in the blue of Astana. Where is the race leader's jersey of Nathaniel Behani? There he is, in the centre of your shot. Look for the green helmet with that turquoise on it.
Sitting a bit too much out in the wind there. You can see he wants to get the shelter, but it's not really daring to go too tight in there and create the space for him to get a proper sit on his teammate.
Just have a look at that. Ephesus, one of the great centres of Asia Minor. Greek and then, or Hellenistic and then Greek, Hellenistic and then Roman. One of the places to come and see if you're going to come. Oh, they're working hard here. Astana, and Behani sitting right there again in the wind a little bit.
Yeah.
With what's his name? Gretchen. That's the one. Yes. Sergei Grechkin, the King of the Mountains leader there as well.
Just needs to get himself onto the wheel.
Some riders deciding that it's their day. There's Jonathan Cantwell, who came up after doing a bit of off-roading. Gets back in. Oh, Behani sitting right on the wheel now of Selderez. They're really up for this one today. Interestingly, can you see that the points jersey of Andre Greipel is still up towards the front?
Yeah, I think it's just doing a good workout really for himself and for his team.
The ruins of Ephesus on the right-hand side, magnificent, absolutely magnificent.
You've got to remember Adam Hansen is up there on 22nd on the general classification as well. So Hansen is climbing well, so maybe he wants to have a go at this. It's not too long a climb. Is he going to have the legs?
Oh, look at this! This is exploding now. You could see Adam Hansen in the middle of your shot. He's still sitting in the saddle, and it's Sergei Gretchen and Mustafa Sayer of Turku, who are now putting the hurt on. Gretchen, who's had a terrific Tour of Turkey. He is the mountains classification leader. Doesn't like the super steep stuff so much, but this is really good for him now. He's got Sayer in the wheel. Behind him it's Cildrés, and then Atapuma of Colombia. And Behani, where is Behani? There he is, right behind Atapuma. Sutherland looking good. Look, just sitting in the saddle, tapping away there.
He looks very comfortable.
That was big hurt by Gretchen. Some riders have had to fight back onto that one. I thought that was going to be a huge split for a minute, but it's just strung them all out now. Sitting into a pace.
Still very much a big chainring climb, this one, until it get a little bit further on. A couple of the climbers might very well drop down into the little chainring. If you're one of those riders who're used to and quite happy pedaling on the little chainring, then it is definitely a possibility of riding maybe a 39, sort of 13, 14 on this section.
There's a whole fistful of riders here today, Magnus, who can see their opportunity opening up, possibly their last opportunity to take the leader's jersey. I think Sayer is one of them, because this is the climb that he wants to get up there first. 10, 6 and 4 bonus seconds available at the top as Gretchen peels off by the look of it. That leaves Mustafa Sayer in the front of things with 4 kilometers to go. It's still not the nastiest part of this. Oh, Cildrés out of the saddle, just responding to Sayer. Well, he flicks the elbow, Mustafa Sayer. You must be joking, surely.
Yeah, if you set that tempo from the bottom, you keep going, mate.
There's not a rider in that group that's going to take up the pace.
And of course, for someone like Cildrés, backing off the pace and not taking the turn is perfect, because he slows it down. Every time someone has an attack now, that's going to hurt Mustafa Sayer more than it will hurt any of the other riders.
And that being because he turns such a big gear.
Yeah.
We saw it the other day at El Mali. When he has that big gear and anybody pips off the front, he has difficulty responding to it. Good one for a chancer, this one. They've made it to this point. It's a good one for a chancer. There's Gretchen in the mountains classification jersey, pushes through his teammate Andrei Mizerov.
Is that Nicolas Eder?
Still the big favourites are not particularly worried here at the moment. Let them go.
Don't want to let any of the two Cofidis riders go too far, though. You've got Nicolas Eder in 10th at 43 seconds and Johan Bagot in 6th at 34 seconds. So they're still very much dangerous in this one. Looks like Kasheshkin.
Yep, I think so. Trying to respond here.
Interesting fact we found out yesterday about Kasheshkin as well. He's got a 19-centimeter stem on his bike.
Yeah, a 190. That's huge. As Magnus said, he might need a bigger frame. Pushing on. And now Sonny Colbrelli is the rider from Bardiani.
This part is where it starts getting steep. Nicolas Eder.
And there's Pimenta of the NetApp Enduro squad. And that's a good little push. If he can get up to Eder, he's going fairly well. Pimenta's had a very good race so far, and I think he'll be very pleased with doing that. Oh, look at this. Kevin Cildrés is at the back of this little group, and he's going backwards rather than forwards, Kevin Cildrés.
Yeah.
Nicolas Eder is putting the hurt on, and Pimenta of NetApp Enduro is coming across. Both of them at 40-something seconds. 49 for Pimenta, 43 for Nicolas Eder. They are now coming onto the steepest part of the climb. There's a left-hander here. Sayer just winds up that big gear with Behani in his wheel. And Bagot is the other rider here from Cofidis up towards the front. Rory Sutherland just keeping it under control. Sayer pushes on, but I think when it gets steeper, he's not going to be able to. Cildrés is in real trouble. He's been dropped. Sildraez has been dropped. Kasheshkin is sitting around waiting for him, but it's gone. Sildraez has not got the legs today. What the heck? Mustafa Sayah has just ridden away from everybody. Nicholas Ede looks over his shoulder to see the Turkish rider from Turku is just riding away.
No one could follow him. There wasn't so much an attack, it was just an increase in tempo. And Nicholas Ede is going to struggle to hold on to this one as well.
Mustafa Sayah with 3 kilometers to go. Behani is looking up the road in absolute disbelief, as the rest of us are as well, because the big gear churning Mustafa Sayah has ridden Nicholas Ede off the wheel. What is going on? The rider from Turku is suffering so badly in El Mali because he couldn't respond, and this is the very, very steep part of the route today. We've only got, what, 3 kilometers to go, and Mustafa Sayah has just ridden everybody off the wheel.
You're coming up to 2 kilometers to go, Mark, just here now. But the way Mustafa Sayah is turning that gear over, it's unbelievable.
Maxime Mederel and Rory Sutherland, who's maybe keeping his powder dry, maybe they can respond now a little bit. Sutherland moves forward. Sildraez is out of the back door. Behani has Serge Pals behind him. Another dig by Mustafa Sayah. This is Kasheshkin waiting for the car. Where is Sildraez?
I don't know, but I'm just looking at Mustafa Sayah still turning the big chainring over.
He's still on the big chainring.
He's still on the big chainring.
I was so shocked, I hadn't even noticed. That's extraordinary. That is completely unbelievable. Mustafa Sayah has just ground his way up this climb, and look at the distance he's put into everybody. Johan Bago makes the effort to get across, and they are suffering. You can see their heads are down. When a rider starts to look at the bottom bracket all the time, you know they are on the edge.
Yeah, they certainly are. And you know, you can see the difference in how they're pushing the pedals as well. I just cannot believe what I'm seeing.
Mustafa Sayah has just ridden everybody off the wheel as Johan Bago now tries to go with his teammate, or get up to his teammate who's suffering a little bit. Nicholas Ede's effort to try and sit on the wheel of Mustafa Sayah has just blown him away, really. And this is a good ride by Bago as well. Still 2 Turku riders in here. The other riders are David de la Fuente, you can see, and Barici, Nazim Barici. Well, there's going to be celebrations in Turkey tonight, and in the on the Turku table at dinner time, because he's put a huge gear on and just ground his way up here, just ridden away from everybody. Behani has to sit in here. He has to try and shut something down if he can. He has to bring back Rory Sutherland. It flattens out here. He has to try and bring back Bago and get some bonus seconds in the bank. Sutherland's not too far up the road. If Behani could even just nip out and get third, would be something.
It would be something, definitely. Both of the Cofidis riders really just trying to get themselves up. They're trying to work to and bring this man back, but look at the effort he's putting in.
This is the 2 Cofidis riders, Johan Bago now and Nicholas Ede are together, locked together here now. Sutherland is behind them, Behani is behind that. Sutherland is going to be brought back. It's Filiu who's doing the work here, Brice Filiu. The big, tall, rangy figure of Brice Filiu. Pacing up Behani. I think that's what he's doing, actually. There's no way he can go for the win. I think he's just pacing up Behani from a different team. Well, look, he's out of sight. Mustafa Sayah's out of sight. 1 kilometre to go for everybody else, and Mustafa Sayah has long passed it. The only thing they could have hoped for with that sort of increase in pace is that he would just completely destroy himself, run out of gas totally. But it's not seemed to have been happened here. And Bago is the only man who looks like he can chase at all. And he's so far back. The win is going to go to Mustafa Seya, unless he totally destroys himself in the last 500 meters.
Well, he basically had to stop and turn back down the hill again, I think.
Yeah. He could get off, have a quick bit of food, get back on again, get off, have another bit of food, take the plaudits of the crowd, get back on again, and still win. This is a fine ride by Johan Bago, though. He's just working his way up, and certainly Seya is slower than he was, but nothing like before. And the Turks are going absolutely bonkers. Mustafa Seya, with 500 meters to go, struggling to respond to the bouncing style of Behani the other day, has just stuck it in the big gear and accelerated away from everybody here. 500 to go from Johan Bago.
Well, it's a climb that lends itself to that kind of a rider who can turn a big gear over. It's the very same sort of gradient all the way up to the finish. So,
well, this is the way the Tour winning ride. This,
yeah, definitely.
Unless something befalls this man here, Mustafa Seya, in the next 2 days, I'm afraid he's not afraid. He's going to win the Tour of Turkey. I'm afraid for everybody else is more than I could say.
Still
300 meters.
Still a reasonably big group down the back there, though.
Mustafa Seya, 4 hours 39 minutes and 51. He's just going to come in at about 4 hours and 40 seconds. Takes the win up to Selçuk by riding everybody off his wheel in a big gear, and Turku get their result. And he wins the 6th stage of the 49th Presidential Tour of Turkey. Johan Bago, tongue lolling out, Christophe Maron, Vokler style, takes second. Well, he certainly slowed down towards the top of the climb as Bago's fast cadence managed to get up with him. Third will be Nicolas Ede. And Behani loses the jersey. There comes the group, and look, Behani is not even in that group. He's fighting for every second from the wheel here of Brice Filiu, and the jersey goes to the Turkish rider Mustafa Seya, and Behani had no response for that sort of increase in pace.
Well, no one did really, did they? No. You know, it's an incredibly hard pace being set right from the bottom by the Turku team, and Mustafa Seya just kept that going. I mean, when he decided that, you know, enough was enough, then no one had anything to respond to that kind of a change in pace, and he managed to keep that going all the way to the top as well. So, an absolutely phenomenal ride by Mustafa Seya.
Mustafa Seya gets the win from Bodrum to Selçuk. This team that was so plagued after the results of last year get a win this year in one of the hardest stages of the Tour of Turkey. Here's the King of the Mountains was coming in there. We saw his teammate Sergei Grechin. Grechin did a good job at setting the pace early on in the climb, Magnus. He did a fine turn, strung them all out, got everybody into their relative positions, basically, didn't it?
Yeah, he did. You know, I think that kind of riding was actually needed to set yourself to set a teammate up for a win, and you know, you can only applaud the Turku team for the way that they've set this up this morning for the this afternoon for the stage win. You know, I think that was probably one of the sort of rise of the day was the setup of this final attack that we see here now.
Watch this. Gets out of the saddle with that big gear. Starts to turn away. Look at the gap. He instantly opens up, and Berhane is twiddling that little gear, trying to stay with him. He's on the inner chainring, and Seier is still on the outer chainring. He comes past Pimenta. He's already put a huge gap into everybody, and he just accelerates again here. Look at this. Gone. Everybody's gone.
Well, he just kind of sat down, saw them behind him. You know, everyone was hurting. We're in real trouble, and decided, okay, let's go from here then.
Mustafa Seier puts 25 meters into everybody immediately, and they all sit down. Mustafa Seier of Turku takes the victory here into Selçuk on stage 6.
You have a dream, and you have the passion. You want to go beyond what everybody else says is possible. Imagine you riding alongside a legend. This is your chance. Conquer the road.
Welcome back. The celebrations continue outside the Turku bus here on stage 6 of the Tour of Turkey. Mustafa Seier, 18 seconds ahead of Johan Bago, and then Nicolas Eder, 23. Petrov Andenov. Andenov from Kaharual, climbing very well, 28 seconds back. Darwin Atapuma, Jonathan Iver. And then Maxime Mederel, 33 seconds, and there was the leader, Nathaniel Berhane. 43 seconds back, coming across the line with Brice Feliu. Rory Sutherland tried to respond, 43 seconds down, didn't happen, but look, still in there was David de la Fuente, Nazim Bakrici. Turku having 3 or 4 men in the top 20 riders coming across the line there. And Nicolas Eder moves to 1 minute behind. Cameron Meyer down to 1:02. Atapuma down. Serge Powell's a big loser.
Prenez vos places, s'il vous plaît.
Goodness only knows how she managed to do it in the end. It's out!
Can, and there has been only one winner.
This was the plan. Look at that!